Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. The Speaker of the Polish Sejm, Elżbieta Witek, today made an urgent request to the Constitutional Tribunal for a judgment on the disputed competences of the Sejm and the Supreme Court over the election of justices by the National Council of the Judiciary. This afternoon, the Constitutional Tribunal said that it would deal with the request, thereby suspending the meeting of the three chambers of the Supreme Court that had been scheduled for tomorrow by order of the President of the Supreme Court. Despite the position taken by the Constitutional Tribunal, a spokesman of the Supreme Court said that the meeting would take place anyway. Earlier, the same Justice Committee discussed a Senate resolution rejecting the judicial law amendments in their entirety.
The Parliamentary Committee on the Judiciary gave a negative opinion on the rejection of the judicial reforms by the Senate. Today's session was very emotional.
Please calm down, maybe some relaxing tea. Motion for break was already submitted. No, next please.
MP Czarnek referred to the Decalogue, so I say this: if you pass this bill, you end up in hell. Last Friday, the Senate adopted a resolution rejecting all the judicial law amendments. Earlier, throughout the whole month, consultations took place in the Senate, widely publicized by Senate Speaker Grodzki, including his Brussels talks and the visit of the Venice Commission to the Polish Senate.
That was a performance by the opposition to their voters. It was an attempt to draw the public into the parliamentary quarrel and taking them to the streets.
A vote on the resolution of the Senate rejecting the entire judicial law amendments will take place in the current session of the Sejm, probably on Thursday. Also, on the same day, a meeting of three chambers of the Supreme Court, Civil, Criminal and Labor, is scheduled, during which questions of the first President of the Supreme Court, Małgorzata Gersdorf, is to be addressed. The question is whether the new judges appointed at the request of the new National Council of the Judiciary by President Andrzej Duda are legitimate judges. Therefore, Sejm Marshal Elżbieta Witek submitted a request to the Constitutional Tribunal to resolve the competence dispute between the Sejm and the Supreme Court. This is not a fad, it is not just a caprice. This is a very serious matter, and I decided that as a House Speaker, I was obliged to ask the Constitutional Tribunal how it is. After all, whether the Sejm has the right to adopt laws on the organization of courts, as the Constitutional Tribunal says, or not.
I am confident that in this case the matters are out of Supreme Court's jurisdiction. We already had judgments by the Constitutional Tribunal and by Federal Administrative Court that gave interpretations in an unequivocal way that the appointment of a judge is a prerogative of the President, the sole decision of the President, and it is not subject to any other control.
Aktem prezydenckim wyłącznym I w związku z tym nie podlega żadnej kontroli.
Despite the announcement of the Constitutional Tribunal session on the matter, the spokesman of the Supreme Court, Michał Laskowski, stated that the chambers of that court will take place as planned.
It's never too early to make an election mistake. Although the Polish presidential campaign is yet to start, the main opposition candidate, Małgorzata Kidawa-Błońska, appears to have got off on the wrong foot. In an interview for the TVN TV station, she accused the leader of the ruling party, Jarosław Kaczyński, of being interested only in Poland. Her attempted attack on Law and Justice thus fell rather flat, since that is exactly what one might expect of a party leader.
Speaking to the TVN TV News, the presidential contender said,
"And as we know, Jarosław Kaczyński does not care about the world or Europe. All he cares about is Poland."
Politicians from the ruling Law and Justice party spotted the lame duck and fired a broadside on Twitter.
At last, Mrs. Błońska said something meaningful. The conclusion for the election staff is clear. Less prompter and let her speak. But seriously, I confirm that Jarosław Kaczyński cares very much about Poland. He will do everything to make Poles live better and safer, and to make Poland's position more and more significant.
The Civic Platform candidate for president, Mrs. Kidawa-Błońska, said that President Kaczyński doesn't care about the world, he only cares about Poland. What a splendid difference to Speaker Grodzki and the rest of the opposition, who can even report their own country to foreign powers.
President Andrzej Duda and Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki are in Davos, Switzerland, to take part in the World Economic Forum. They are meeting major figures in the world economy and seek to encourage them to invest in Poland and expand their cooperation with the Polish state.
While everything slows down around us, the Polish economy is only accelerating forward. I'm often asked what's the secret to our success, and to that I say new technologies. New technologies which will bring us not only more places of employment, but also profitable places of employment. This is very important to me. We see a very promising business partner in Japan, where I had many talks about the economy, energy security and infrastructure.
Co najważniejsze dla mnie, powstał nowy format współpracy w ramach Trójmorza, dlatego że...
What's most important to me is the fact that a new form of cooperation within the Three Seas Initiative has come to life. Polish companies PZU and PKOSA, along with other large companies of Central Europe, have created a business council of the Three Seas Initiative. They will be systematically meeting and working together, which makes me very happy, since it shows that the Three Seas Initiative is constantly developing in various areas.
Bo to pokazuje, że format współpracy Trójmorza rozwija się na różnych polach.
Ronald Lauder, the president of the World Jewish Congress, will not be participating in the World Holocaust Forum, which takes place tomorrow in Jerusalem. Lauder will, however, take part in the commemoration of the 75th anniversary of the liberation of the Auschwitz concentration camp, which will take place at Auschwitz on the 27th of January. The Institute of National Remembrance organised a screening of the movie A Report of Auschwitz today. By using documents from, among others, British archives, the director of the movie demonstrates that the Polish underground state had been informing the Allies of extensive genocide in the Nazi German concentration camps located in Poland since as early as 1941. These reports remained unnoticed.
A Report of Auschwitz is a story about Poles who had been informing the world of the extensive genocide in the Nazi German concentration camps located in Poland. The movie presents documents never shown before indicating that Poles had been informing the Allies about the situation in the death camps from 1941 until the end of the war.
We
have to show the historical truth outside Poland, and this is the goal of this movie. The purpose of this movie is to show people from abroad the truth of Auschwitz and what Poles and the Polish underground state did in order to stop the Holocaust made by the German invaders.
I co Polacy i państwo polskie podziemne i rząd na uchodźstwie.
In the movie A Report of Auschwitz, the director Krzysztof Brożek shows the apathy of the West towards the signals of the Polish underground state about Holocaust during the Second World War.
Oczywiście historycy, którzy się zajmują tematem.
There are many heroes of the movie, including historians, but these documents are the greatest heroes of this movie. They clearly stated the Polish army had been informing the Allies about the situation. The prisoners were doing everything they could to pass this information to the Polish underground state, and then the Polish underground was passing it on to London and the Allies. Despite what the authorities of the Russian Federation say in Moscow and St. Petersburg nowadays, the Polish underground state had been informing the West about what had been happening here, about the genocide in the Nazi concentration camps, about everything that our government in exile did to stop this crime.
The screening of the movie was organized on the occasion of the upcoming 75th anniversary of liberation of the Auschwitz Nazi German concentration camp. The world premiere of the movie was held on November 20th, 2019 in the European Parliament.
Today marks the 157th anniversary of the beginning of the January Uprising, an 18-month campaign to overthrow Russian rule, which broke out in Warsaw in 1863. This was the longest and most extensive uprising during the 123 years of Polish partition. Although some 2,500 battles and skirmishes were won by insurgent forces, the uprising was ultimately defeated. However, the uprising is significant because, inspired by the actions of their parents, the next generation was able successfully to fight to secure an independent Poland in the immediate aftermath of the First World War.
We are talking about a secret Polish state with its own, tax system, with its own seals, with its own intelligence, and they learned that there is a convoy that is to travel from Warsaw to Lublin, carrying this amount of money, 200,000 rubles in gold. And funny thing, because after the battle, the commander, the Colonel Heidenreich, German name, Heidenreich Kruk. That was his, let's say, nom de guerre, his pseudonym, would give a ruble to every Russian. And after that, the Russians were talking that Polish insurgents are so good and so nice that they give money even to Russians. It was a very, very good operation.
We hope you like the new studio. Do stay with us for Poland Daily Business, the weather and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.